Hi everyone, it's Tanya, and today I'm going to show you how to make the tag that I shared yesterday on my Instagram page, Tanya.Brooks2, and on Tim Holtz Addicts page on Facebook. If you haven't seen it, check it out there. So I am actually making a whole separate tag today. I'm going to gift that to a friend. Here I am showing you some of what I used. For this card, I did use 2 layers of black cardstock, and the rest is cut out with watercolor cardstock and colored in, we'll paint it in with Tim Holtz Distress Inks, Distress Free Inkers. The belt buckle is done with Foundry Wax. I painted all that, I let it dry, and then I went in with the Distress Mica Glaze and I set that aside. The background is a Tim Holtz tag. It has Christmas backdrop paper over the top of it, punched a hole through it, added the little black circle that I inked, and I used this wood tape here that has been inked up for this bottom part, and then I used some other Tim Holtz elements onto the card. Those are all inked with Distress ink in brushed corduroy. I also stamped on that image that you just seen from that stamp set and used some watercolors to color in just a little bit, the watercolor pencils actually, to color in just a little bit of that. Here I am going to start showing you how to get this texture. We're going to use some texture paste, not the opaque kind. You need the white kind that dries white. So we're using that. And here I just put some out because I don't want to keep dipping into my bottle. I put some out on my table, and I'm just using a stiff bristle paintbrush to get that on there, and my palette knife. And you can see me here spreading that out pretty well. I go in also with my finger and kind of spread it out some. I just want to get a nice coat there on his beard. And I started with his beard first. One, that's the biggest spot. But also, I want this to dry just slightly to where it just gets this thin layer on the top. It doesn't need, I don't want it to dry all the way through, but I do want it to get a nice thin layer on the top. There I was cleaning up a little bit that I got onto the actual Santa. I just used a little Cricut tool, one of the pokey tool things for that. Works great for cleaning this texture paste off of there where you don't want it. So as you can see, here I am just still working it around, getting it out, using my finger to kind of spread it out a little bit more. Once I get this part done, we're going to let that sit until I feel like it's this thin layer on the top. So here we are, cleaning up some more, and then we're going to start working on the next part, which will be his coat. Again, just using my paintbrush, I'm going to add that to the bottom of his coat here and spread that out. For this part, once I get it spread out how I want it, I wipe my brush off with a paper towel, and then I'm just going to go in and pounce it up and down to get those little hills and valleys and make it look kind of fluffy. Trying to make sure that you can see what's going on here, so I keep lifting it up to the camera. It feels like it's not focusing very well today. So once I got that part done, I'm going to start with the cuff of his jacket. And same thing as we did on the coat, we're going to do that on both the cuffs. We're going to spread it out on there, get a nice layer, wipe it off with a paper towel, and then pounce it. So here you can see I'm just doing the other cuff, and we'll do that exact same way. Spread it on, dry the brush off, wipe the brush off, and pounce that down too, just to get that nice fluffy look onto his sleeve. Once we get this done, we're going to start with his mustache and his eyebrows. I took a pencil and I just did a thin little line up there to show me where exactly I wanted all that to go. I also defined between his hat and what I thought would be his hair. And you'll see I do those a couple different ways up there too. So it looks like his beard's done. So before we hit the eyebrows and the mustache, we're going to tackle that beard. So what we're going to do for the beard is I spray just a touch of water onto the table, and I dip my brush into it and just kind of dab it off on a paper towel. You don't want it super wet. Then you're just going to follow where you think the flow of his beard would go, from the top to the bottom, and just kind of follow where you think that flow will go. And as you need to, just re-dip the brush into the water to get that little dampness on there. You just want it damp. And then you let it, just keep doing that until you get it the way you want it. I had a little like hump of texture paste there I had to get out. So I kind of smoothed that out some. I really think this looks like carved wood once it's done. It gives it a really cute look to it. So here you can see I'm working on mine. I had to lift it up some so I could see a little better. But there you go. Now we're going to tackle those eyebrows and that mustache. And then we're going to do that the same way we did the beard. We're going to apply it and we're going to let it get that little thin layer on the top. And then we'll come back and hit it with that damp brush. So that's what I'm doing now. I'm just adding in the texture paste there. And you'll see I use a little tool when it comes to the eyebrows. That's an old embossing tool I had here. Had it forever. You can use a toothpick or whatever you need just to get into that little groove in the eyebrow. And then you'll see I take my finger and I kind of wipe over that just to push it down in there. And that really helps to like keep it off the rest of his face. And then, like I said, we'll set that aside. And then I'm going to start working on where I think his hair would be. So that can start to dry also. And we're going to do the same thing. We're going to give it a little bit of time to just get that little coating on top, and then we'll come back with a damp brush and go over that. That's what we're doing here. Just applying it there, getting as much as we want, and then we'll start working on his hat. So we're going to start on this hat, and I'm going to apply a little bit more than what I have been using because I want this part kind of a little bit more fluffy. So I just add a little bit extra up here. And if you don't have enough once you start pouncing, like I said, you can go back and you can add some more. And I think I did that here. When I started pouncing, I noticed there was a couple spots I felt like needed just a little bit more thickness to it. So I went back in and did that. I love the amount of depth and texture this gives to this Santa. It really just makes him pop. So here you see, I went back in. I'm working on the mustache just like we did the beard with that damp brush. I'll do that both eyebrows and his hair the exact same way. So once I get all this done, you will see that I went in with my Tim Holtz heated tool and I dried Santa a little bit. I normally let these air dry, but I wanted to get it onto the tag base today so you could see it on there. So I did go in with the heated tool and dry it. I also will show you a little comparison of the two, the one I did from yesterday, the one I did today. And you can just see there's some slight differences there. But that's the unique thing about handmade things. All of them are unique and different, and I love that about it. So, as you can see, Santa's ready to go on to his tag. But first I noticed there's a little bit of texture paste that needs to be brushed off, so I'm going to get that off of there. Just use a clean brush and I brush that off. And now adding to his tag base. For this, I used some Bearly Art Glue. I've got the twine already to add to it, to hang it from and add a little bow. Here you see me adding the glue. At the end of this video, I will also have some photos of the finished product, my tag from yesterday, them together. If you haven't already, please hit the subscribe button and like this video. If you have any questions, please make sure to put them in the comments below and I will try to answer them as quickly as possible. Here you can see I've got the twine out and ready to go for my tag. Here's the 24th and the 25th. These will look so cute back to back, especially if you had kids and you can hang the 24th on Christmas Eve and flip it over the 25th on Christmas Day. But I'll be gifting my 25th tag and keeping my 24th to hang on my tree. I really hope you try this technique. It is so much fun and it gives so much texture and depth to your project. Like I said, there's photos at the end of this video of the finished products together. I really hope you enjoy the video and thanks for watching.